You've seen talent, you've seen beauty, but you've never seen people like this. From real-life mermaids to humans with superhuman features, join us for the 50 most extraordinary people ever caught on camera. Chunkai. Chunkai was called China's Elephant Man for obvious reasons. He was born with neurofibromatosis, and it caused massive facial tumors that distorted his face by his 20s. He underwent several risky surgeries and removed over 43 pounds of tumor tissue. And after multiple operations, he regained basic abilities like eating and socializing, living a quieter life by 2017. Cyclopia Infant. In Indonesia, there was a recorded case of cyclopia that people found extremely hard to believe. This rare condition results in a baby born with just one eye, and sometimes no nose at all, as seen in this case. Unfortunately, this infant did not survive the next couple of hours after its birth. Chandre Orion. Unlike the others, Chandre was worshipped for his abnormality. He was born with a long hair growth from the base of his spine that looks exactly like a tail. But many locals believe he's an incarnation of the Hindu monkey god Hanuman, and hundreds travel to touch his tail and receive his blessings. In his community now, many come to him for healing and good fortune. Kim Peek.
So I can scan it really fast. You can tell how my brain works.
This man probably never failed a test in his life. Kim Peek was born without a corpus callosum and can read 2 pages at once, one with each eye, and retain nearly everything. He knows calendars, phone books, history, sports stats, even obscure facts. Although he has motor and social challenges, his brain made him a living Google. Mulefaced Woman.
I came here because I heard that you haven't eaten in 13 years or 15 years. Is it true?
Yes, it's true. I haven't eaten for the last 16 years.
Would you believe that this 26-year-old woman from Ethiopia hasn't eaten or drunk anything since age 10? Medical tests in Ethiopia, Qatar, Dubai, and India reportedly found no food, water, or waste in her digestive tract. And when asked, Mulefaced says it's because she simply lost the desire for nourishment. Chanel Tapper. If you ever saw a person with a tongue this long, you'd probably run. Chanel's tongue is about 3.8 inches long.
I deal with the attention when I have to, and it's totally fine, but just to have it for no reason is not really my thing.
It's so long it can touch her nose and her chin, and it all started at age 13 when a local TV show filmed her sticking out her tongue. Eventually, Guinness recognized her for this unique trait, and Chanel herself has refused to be embarrassed by it. Lalit Patidar. This boy Lalit from Madhya Pradesh, India, was born with a rare condition called congenital hypertrichosis. This illness causes him to grow hair excessively all over his face.
I'm speechless. I don't know what to say because I'm very happy to get this recognition.
As a baby, barely a day old, he looked like he had a full beard and sideburns. Although he has faced bullying and lots of teasing, Lalit hopes to become a police officer someday. Lizzy Velasquez. Lizzy Velasquez was born with an ultra-rare condition called marfanoid progeroid lipodystrophy syndrome, which prevents her from ever gaining weight.
I asked my parents, what's wrong with me? What did I do? Why don't they like me? And they sat me down and they said, Lizzy, the only thing that's different about you is that you're smaller than the other kids. You have this syndrome, but it's not going to define who you are.
At 17, she discovered a viral YouTube video calling her the world's ugliest woman. So she turned pain into purpose and became a motivational speaker, author, and anti-bullying activist. Edward Nino Hernandez. On various platforms and occasions, Nino Hernandez has been recognized as the shortest man alive, and he doesn't even mind. In height, he is only about 2 feet 4 inches. Doctors say it's because Edward has a form of dwarfism that stopped his growth at a very young age, but despite his size, he has a great personality. He dances, acts, and even works as a DJ. Xie Quping. Turns out Rapunzel wasn't a fairy tale after all. Meet Xi from Guangxi, China, who currently has the longest hair in the entire world. She started growing her hair at age 13, back in 1973, and never cut it again. She says taking care of her hair is a full-time job. It takes hours to wash, dry, and manage, and she has to carry it bundled up most of the time. Right? Eugenia. Some are unique, others are uniquely beautiful. This lady, Yu, is said to have the longest eyelashes in the entire world. Her longest eyelash is almost 5 inches long. Her eyelashes are so long that they reach past her cheeks, almost down to her chin, and even doctors have never been able to explain why her eyelashes grow this long. Baby Dominique. What happened with baby Dominique was a case that shook the world for a while. She was born with a parasitic twin and had an undeveloped body attached to her neck and back. This half-twin had extra legs, pelvis, feet, and a second spine. This rare form of parasitic twinning occurs in only a handful of cases worldwide. At 10 months old, though, she underwent a 6-hour surgery in Chicago, where specialists removed the twin without hurting her. Abby and Brittany Hensel. One of America's most unusual celebrities ever would certainly be Abby and Brittany. These two are dicephalic parapagus, conjoined twins, and they share many body parts. Each twin controls one side. Abby manages the right arm and leg. Brittany manages the left, and they learn to coordinate on tasks like walking, writing, sports, and even driving. Mandy Sers. When she was born in 1975, Mandy was living a pretty normal life until she developed an extremely rare overgrowth condition. Her legs and feet started to grow disproportionately heavy until it weighed over 210 pounds, while her upper body remained normal-sized. In 2010, she underwent amputation of her left leg, but the limb grew back, and it prevented doctors from further intervention and drug treatment. Deendra Sutar. 11 fingers and 11 toes isn't the most bizarre thing you've seen. Deendra Sutar from Gujarat, India, has a total of 28 digits, 14 on each hand and each foot. The doctors confirmed that he was born with an extreme case of polydactylism, but his extra fingers and toes haven't hindered his work as a carpenter. Despite the setbacks, he considers the condition a blessing and enjoys performing playful finger tricks for visitors. Hulkren. If you ever dreamed of meeting a real-life mutant, you'll find Hulkren in Australia. He is tattooed with angel wings, piercings, and subdermal implants. He also performs unbelievable acts, one of which is swallowing up to 18 swords at once. One time, he even caught flaming arrows blindfolded. Papa Smurf. Well, it looks like one of the Smurfs may have made it out of the animation. Paul Haldor Karason is an American who developed a condition called argyria. This condition turned his skin a permanent blue-purple hue after years of self-administering colloidal silver to treat his health issues. And since there was nothing he could do about it anymore, he just embraced the nickname Papa Smurf. Jocelyn Wildenstein. Catwoman has got nothing on Jocelyn Wildenstein. Just look at her feline-like facial features, high cheekbones, slanted eyes, and taut skin. Only that they aren't natural, of course. Jocelyn reportedly spent millions of dollars on cosmetic procedures. Although she has denied ever having surgery, her appearance had obviously changed dramatically over decades. Savicas. Lithuanian Savvas is considered by many the greatest strongman ever. As at 2021, he had 4 international competition wins and about 75 world records. In many strength events, He has amazed thousands of people and has reigned as champion for 16 years. And in his 2-decade career, no one has come close to the magnitude of his strength. Julia Zlata. Julia Gunthel, also known as Zlata, is a German contortionist celebrated as the world's most flexible woman. Julia started contorting at age 4, and by the time she was 6 years old, she became a professional gymnast. Zlata currently holds 2 Guinness World Records, one for bursting 3 balloons with her back in 12 seconds, and the other for opening 8 beer bottles with her feet while balancing on her elbows. Iranian Hulk. Some call him the Iranian Hulk. Others say he's the Persian Hercules. His real name is Sajjad Gharibi, and he became a star overnight when pictures of him broke the internet. He stands at 6 feet 2 inches tall and weighs almost 400 pounds, and this unusual physique has earned him hundreds of thousands of followers online. Francisco Domingo Joaquim. Have you ever imagined someone fitting a soda can sideways in their mouth? That's Francisco Domingo Joaquim from Angola, and he has the widest and most elastic mouth in the world. His 7-inch mouth is so wide that the media has named it the Jaw of Awe. Domingo now hosts shows where he fits different large objects into his mouth. Tom Staniford. Meet Tom Staniford, an English paracyclist who was diagnosed with the super-rare MDP syndrome. With this condition, he can't store body fat and also lives with diabetes, hearing loss, and joint inflexibility. He became Britain's national paracycling circuit champion in 2011 and has made it clear that he's determined to never give up. Lauren Wasser. Lauren Wasser was a model just starting out her career at 24 when toxic shock syndrome from a tampon nearly killed her and claimed both legs. But she bounced back and chose to have golden prosthetic legs, and this time she modeled for SI Swimsuit 2024 and became a vocal activist pushing for tampon safety regulation. Gary Turner. The Elastic Man, whose actual name is Gary Turner, can do perhaps the most disturbing thing with his skin. Thanks to Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, he can stretch his abdomen skin as far as 6.25 inches without pain. Since 1998, he earned the Guinness World Record for the stretchiest skin in the world, and still holds it till date. Tree Man. In Indonesia, we find something a bit more unsettling. This man named Didi Koswara was an Indonesian carpenter popularly known as the Tree Man due to an ultra-rare genetic disorder that made HPV infections spiral out of control, causing bark-like wart growths across his skin. Over about 2 decades, he struggled with huge cutaneous horns, and doctors removed nearly 13 pounds of warts in one surgery. Despite regrowth, 2 surgeries a year were required to manage it, and Didi endured societal rejection till he passed in 2016. Magnet Man. Arun Raikar from India is famous for sticking metal objects weighing more than 22 pounds to his skin. The catch is that there's no actual magnetism. His skin is just unusually sticky that it acts like a suction. Scientists' Cave also confirmed it's genetic friction that lets spoons, nails, or metal plates cling to his torso. Donnie Fritz. I'm sure if you saw this man on the streets, you'd definitely stop and stare. Donnie Fritz underwent surgery in 2003 to battle ameloblastich carcinoma. Unfortunately, he had to sacrifice his nose, upper lip, palate, and part of his forehead. What remained was a huge hole the size of a tennis ball, which left him unable to chew, kiss, or interact without shocking others. Mulefaced Woman. Sometimes, beautiful people don't exactly have what we call a beautiful face. That's the case of Grace McDaniels. Because of her looks, she became a famous sideshow performer in the mid-20th century, known as the Mule-Faced Woman due to severe Sturge-Weber syndrome. Despite winning the Ugliest Woman contest in 1935, she took advantage of her disadvantage and earned $175 a week touring with Harry Lewiston's circus. Shin Yongyong. Can you believe that this seemingly young schoolboy is actually a 36-year-old man born in 1989? Due to a rare, unofficially named Highlander syndrome, his body ages extremely slowly. He has chubby cheeks, soft skin, high-pitched voice, and stands at just 5 foot 4 inches tall. In fact, he hasn't even hit puberty yet. Lakshmi Tatma. In 2005, the town of Bihar in India welcomed a rather unlikely newborn. Lakshmi was born with a rare condition that resulted in her having 8 limbs due to a parasitic twin attached at the pelvis. It was extremely strange, so, as a toddler, villagers worshipped her as a form of the goddess Vishnu Lakshmi. In 2007, surgeons had to perform a 27-hour operation in Bangalore to remove the extra arms and legs. Now, she's much older and living a perfectly normal life. Catboy. When Nong Yuhui was born, his parents knew he wasn't normal. He has bright blue eyes that glow under light, plus night vision, just like a cat. Reports from 2010 even claimed he could read and see clearly in complete darkness. Even doctors don't know what the cause could be. Their top guesses are leukodermia or ocular albinism, conditions that alter pigmentation, but none of these confer night vision. Lee Redmond. Lee Redmond completely stopped trimming her nails in 1979, and by 2003, they measured more than 23 feet combined. Her nails were gold varnished, and she cared for them daily with olive oil and a toothbrush. But of course, she struggled with everyday tasks. Unfortunately, they were broken in a car crash in 2009, and Redmond passed away in 2023 at age 82. Wim Hof. Winter is probably Wim Hof's favorite season of the year because he just frolics in ice all day. That's why he is famously nicknamed the Iceman. He has shared several videos of himself under ice and running barefoot in snow. He even created the Wim Hof method for people who wanted to take ice baths and swims, and it does have its health benefits. However, an investigation linked 11 deaths to cold water classes that imitated his method. Shiloh Pepen. Who said mermaids weren't real? This cute little girl, Shiloh Pepen, was born in Maine with cyrinomylia, commonly called mermaid syndrome, which fused her legs and left her without critical organs like a bladder, rectum, and uterus. Doctors expected she'd live only days. Yet she defied the odds and endured over 150 surgeries. Shiloh was one of only 3 known long-term survivors. Unfortunately, she passed away at 10 from pneumonia. Brooke Greenberg. The moment Brooke Greenberg clocked 5, her parents noticed that she stopped aging both physically and mentally. This was due to a condition called Syndrome X, or neotenic complex syndrome. She remained tiny and had the cognitive level of an infant. Till she passed away at 20, medical testing, including DNA sequencing and brain imaging, showed no known mutation explaining her condition. Michel Lotito. Mr. Eat Everything was a French entertainer who could literally eat anything: metal, glass, rubber, anything. This is because he had an unusual digestive condition, a thick stomach lining, and intestines that let him safely crunch titanium bicycles, spectacle frames, and even an aircraft over 2 years. His debut was in the 1960s when he consumed dozens of bicycles, shopping carts, and hundreds of meters of wire as part of his act. Byron Schellenker. Byron Schellenker was just a regular person until he found out that he had a 4-inch wide tongue. He discovered his unusual tongue girth while helping his daughter with a school project and decided to verify it medically. In fact, his tongue grew wider over time because apparently you work it out by sticking it out frequently. Mikl Ruffinelli. Talk about hips that don't lie. Mikl is a plus-size model, motivational speaker, and fashion consultant with a waist that measures 8 feet in circumference. After having 4 children, she developed lipoedema, which contributed to her unbelievable hip size. Now, Mikl advocates for body positivity, embraces her curves, and even brought her journey to a TV show in 2013. Singh Choan. Singh Choan, from Jaipur, India, is the Guinness World Record holder for the longest mustache. Over a span of 32 years, he maintained it without trimming until it grew to be 14 feet long. Although he spends around 2 hours daily grooming it, he has no plans whatsoever to cut it off and sees it as a symbol of pride. Ashlin Blocker. Ashlin Blocker from Georgia has congenital insensitivity to pain. This is basically a condition that prevents her from feeling pain, hot or cold. She can't sense burns, cuts, or bruises, which definitely sounds cool, but it puts her at risk every day. Teachers and parents have to carefully supervise her because she lacks the natural alarm bell. Pain gives us. Her case certainly has scientists guessing, but Ashlin may live the rest of her life, never knowing what pain really is. Savannah Fulkerson. Savannah was just 4 years old when she started reacting violently to sun exposure, and she described it as feeling lava on her skin. She was then diagnosed at Children's Hospital, LA, with erythropoietic protoporphyria. This condition makes her allergic to sunlight, and her skin blisters, itches, and scabs even after minutes outside. She now lives by night, using protective clothing, gloves, and brimmed hats, and stays indoors during daylight. Tessa Hansen Smith. Can you imagine what would happen if water made you sick? Tessa Hansen Smith lives with aquagenic urticaria, an allergy to water. From about age 8, water contact, showers, swimming, even sweat, caused her skin to break out in painful hives and welts. Once her scalp even bled after showering. To manage her condition, Tessa uses antihistamines and is currently studying to be a nurse. Esperance Luminesca Fuerzina. If you met Esperance at a grocery store, you probably would think it was cosplay, but she's actually a 36-year-old Connecticut Army veteran who also happens to be the most tattooed woman alive. About 99.98% of her body is inked and altered with body modifications. She first started at age 21, and now her tattoos cover scalp, eyeballs, gums, tongue, and private areas. Ddier Montalvo. Nope, that's not a turtle. That's Ddier with a massive congenital melanocytic nevus that caused a birthmark resembling a turtle shell to cover much of his back, and he lived in shame until a group of medical experts decided to help him. It was considered the worst CMN case surgeons had seen, but after a successful surgery, Ddier could attend school and even traveled to the UK to meet peers with similar conditions. Leang Shuen. 82-year-old Leang Shuen became known as the Unicorn Woman after a horn-like growth appeared on her forehead. It began as a small itchy mole about 8 years prior, then turned into a keratinous horn. Surgery was a treatment option, but due to her age and the sensitive location, her family hesitated. The horn caused her pain, bleeding, and disrupted sleep until she tragically passed away. Kaleem. Kaleem is an Indian boy born with hands that weigh 17 pounds each due to extreme localized gigantism. Bullying and social exclusion in school became common, and he struggled with basic tasks like dressing, feeding, and tying shoes. In 2015, however, surgeons removed about half the weight of his arm in surgeries, and his life instantly became easier. Butterfly Boy. Jonathan Pitre was as fragile as a butterfly. The Canadian was diagnosed with recessive dystrophic epidermolysis bullosa, a rare genetic disorder causing skin so fragile even minor friction could cause painful blisters and open wounds. Over 70% of his body surface was covered with chronic wounds. Unfortunately, he died at 17 from septic shock complications. Deena Sanichar. Deena Sanichar was a real-life wolf boy found living with wolves in a cave in India at about age 6. and became one of the most infamous feral children ever documented. Hunters discovered him after seeing a pack of wolves, and he was taken to an orphanage in Agra. He walked on all fours, ate raw meat, barked and howled, never learned to speak, and spent over 20 years in the orphanage, but remained seriously impaired his entire life. Victoria Wright. Victoria Wright, from London, was born with cherubism, a rare genetic disorder causing abnormal bone overgrowth in the lower face. Her jaw grew progressively large, pressing on her eyes, and she had to go through surgery to relieve pressure and preserve her sight. Doctors say the weight of her head is as heavy as a bowling ball. If you found this video fascinating, be sure to give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe because we've got more content coming your way. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.